Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video we are going to explore the bodhi serve command. Bodhi serve starts an OpenAI compatible API server using your downloaded model. You can check all the configuration option available in bodhi serve using the -- help option. So you can configure the host you want to start on, either it is a loopback 127.0.0.1 or 0000, which basically allows network connection from any of the devices on your network. Also, the default port is 1135. The idea behind the port default port 1135 is if you enter 1135 in calculator, it is the closest you can write LLMs using the calculator font digits. So I hope this helps you remember the port that the Bodhi app starts the API server on. Just think of LLMs and you'll find the port default port that we use. So to start, we'll just start with the default options and not override any of these. So Bodhi serve, and it quickly starts it, and we see that it does not load any of the model. We'll see why. So now we are going to basically explore the REST APIs that the Bodhi serve exposes, but instead of using curl, we are going to use the OpenAI Python SDK. Right, this way it is easy for you to see the compatibility with OpenAI APIs, and if you're already using it, it's going to be like very easy switch for you, right? So first I need to just ensure that OpenAI is installed. So I've just run OpenAI is installed. What I need to do is I need to configure two things. One is the base URL, and then the second thing is the API key. The base URL, I have to ensure it is basically the local host and the given port /v1/. So this should be the base URL, and the API key, obviously we don't check for the API key, but OpenAI Python SDK requires you to have an API key, and it should be not empty. So you can give any dummy API key. It doesn't check, it is checked on the server side and we don't check for it, so it passes through. So I run it, I configure my client. Next, let's see the first function that the REST API endpoint we are going to invoke is the list down the models available for us. So using the OpenAI Python SDK, I list down the models and print it. So I see there are many models, and the ID is Llama 213 Chat, Llama 2 Chat. This might look very familiar because these are the same aliases that are shown when I do Bodhi list. So I'll just, so when I do Bodhi list, the model aliases that I've configured locally are basically sent as the models that are available. So instead of sending a model like GPT-4o or GPT 3.5, we are going to use the model ID as one of these model aliases IDs. Let's jump onto the chat completion. We do not support the text generation endpoint, as OpenAI itself is basically deprecating the text generation endpoint. So we only support the chat completions endpoint. So here, instead of saying GPT-4o or ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo or something, I use Llama 3 instruct. Let's actually use a smaller model. I'll say tiny Llama instruct, so that it is quicker for the model to load. So I can actually go over here. Here I'll see the logs or that the model is getting loaded. So I've switched over to that. And what day comes after Monday is a very simple that any small LLM should also be able to answer. So I query the endpoint using Python SDK, and I go over here. I see a lot of Llama CPP logs around the model getting loaded. When I come over here, I see my output after Monday. There are 10 days in a week. Okay, it is a tiny Llama, can't expect much. Therefore the next day is Tuesday. So I run it again. Sorry, but given text doesn't specify what day comes after Monday, or because I don't have the seed, it is going to generate a new response every time. So I see at least the chat completion endpoint is working fine. Let's actually try to get answer from Llama 3. So instead of saying tiny llama, I'll just say Llama 3 instruct. Now what I see is, given Llama 3 is a larger model, so this gets unloaded and the Llama 3 model gets loaded. It's going to take some time to basically warm up and serve my response. Tuesday, it is very succinct. Tuesday is the date that comes after Monday. And what you can also do is pass some sort of a context so that it's able to figure out and reason from the previous conversation. So the first question the user asks is what day comes after Monday. The assistant replies the date that comes after Monday is Tuesday, and what comes after that. So what comes after that depends on the context, and we are passing the context also, the previous chat also. So let's see if it is able to reply. And I say, okay, after Tuesday comes Wednesday. So it is able to basically refer to the previous ones and able to basically reply based on the chat history that was sent. So the Bodhi app REST API also supports system message. So if you give some sort of a guidance of how the assistant or this particular chat conversation should react, you can provide it as a system message. And if the RLHF, if the model particularly supports the system message, it's going to get sent. Otherwise, it's going to get dropped. So you should be really sure if the model that you're using supports system message or not. So I ask it to reply in pirate speak, and I ask it a very profound question. Let's see what it replies with. Cool. So I see the response is, oh, shiver me timbers. He asking a question of ages, matey. This meaning of life, well, I'll give you 2 cents worth it. So it is basically, it is definitely replying in a tone of a pirate. So our system message is having an impact on what the output is. Stream true is mostly used these days, so that you have the response as soon as it is generated. The Bodhi app API supports streaming, so I can just say stream true in the OpenAI Python client, and it's going to stream the response rather than generate it in one shot. I see basically it's getting streamed, right? And we did it already, but I'll show it to you again. So you can easily have the Bodhi app switch from one model to another. So here I'm having Llama 3 instruct, but here I'm having the Mistral instruct model, and I'm printing the messages. I'm asking the same question, but it loads currently in this particular version, it loads only one model at a time. So if it has finished with all the pending requests for a particular model, it unloads that and loads the model for which there are pending requests. So basically it serves one model at a time for this particular version. So I can run it and see, let me do stream true, or I can do, okay, let me not change it in the last moment. Let's just print the response from 2 models. So I've querying Llama 3 with non-streaming mode, so I should see the response printed out for Llama 3 first. So this is the Llama 3 response. Now I'm querying the Mistral for the same question. So this is coming from Mistral. I should have some sort of a scrollable element. So this is the Mistral response that was received, and the execution is complete. So you can easily have the model switched. If you have the particular alias available, it's going to find it and it's going to do it. This is something pending. The API errors in the OpenAI format, we're working on it, should be done pretty soon. But this is it for now. So using Bodhi Serve, you can have the OpenAI compatible APIs for you on your local machine using the open source models. In the next one, we'll see the UI chat interface that ships with the native app. Thank you for watching.